It's Liz Yuille from Old Stables Crafts. Thank you for joining me today. Today we are involved in I am involved in the One Stamp at a Time blog hop. And I thought I would add a video just so I can show you how to make one of the projects. So this month we are doing Step It Up as the theme. So we're doing one simple project, one more complex project, and one really stepped up project. So I'm using the Peaceful Deer stamp set and punch, which is one of the bundles that you can get and add free to your starter kit. There are 12 bundles here that are listed that you can add for free, and the Peaceful Deer is one of them. Peaceful Deer also appears in here because you can get free paper. So for a £45 or €60 spend, you can get free paper, which then works with the punch and the stamp set. So let me take you through my three projects. So this is my more straightforward project. So just some simple stamping. I have used some blends here, but just the crumb cake combo. And then I've added, I don't know if you can see the shimmer, I've added some wink of Stella to ears and tail on both, and to the nose of the deer and the nose of the bunny rabbit. And then I've splatted wink of Stella on as well. Matted it on a piece of the designer series paper on a cherry cobbler base, because that's the red. And then on the inside I've got another piece of the cut off from this, and then a sentiment on the inside. So that's that. This is my stepped up project, which I will come to. And then this is my most stepped up project, where we've got heat embossing, I've punched, I've used the tailor-made tag die set to die cut a white base and again a piece of the designer series paper, and you've got a white back so you can write a message. And then I've dyed some of the black and white gingham ribbon with cherry cobbler blends. Anything that is white you can colour with your blends, and particularly if it's black. Obviously the black won't change colour, it'll stay black. And then just tied it with a piece of the gold trim from the Simply Elegant trim. So yes, and I've coloured inside the heat embossing with the cherry cobbler Stampin' Right marker, because that won't upset the heat embossing, and then just rubbed it over with a piece of kitchen paper. So that's my most avid project. So let me show you how to make the box. I have started my base, but I will go through with you what we're doing. So to make this box, which ends up 4 inches by 4 inches by 1 inch, and uses this lovely cherry cobbler and gold ribbon, I've started with a piece that is 6 by 6 piece of garden green card, where I have trimmed off from 2 adjacent sides the tiniest amount, and that just gives us that slightly smaller base to the top. So literally just a hair's breadth, almost less than a 1/16 of an inch. Excuse me. And then I've scored each side at 1 inch. This is 7 inches square. As you can see, 7 inches square, and I'm going to score that, whoops, I'm going to knock my lights apparently, and score this at 1.5 inches on each side. Now the edge of your trimmer here is 1.5 inches, so it makes it really easy. Be a little respectful of this because it's paper, not card, so don't press too hard or you could rip it. And if you want a measurement this side, you're going at 5.5 inches. And then I'm just going to bring that back, and I'm going to score at this mark, just 1/16 of an inch inside the 3/4 inch mark. So that's going to be 11/16. And that would just mean that the bit that we're going to fold in, because it's folded in to reinforce the paper, is just going to be a little bit shorter than the piece it's folding onto. This will become hopefully a little more apparent when we get there. So there we go, and then I always like at this point just to check that I've got everything right, and you can do that by just checking that your 4 inches are the same, which they are. So I will do the card base first, and then we'll do the paper lid. The card base is very straightforward. It's a standard, it's what I would call my Catherine wheel design for cards, for boxes rather. So take your snips, and I'm just going to trim a tiny weeny bit off there. Little wedge, the smallest, teeniest, weeniest little piece. And sorry about that, a neighbour came round with some apple pies to take to Flower Club. So I had just trimmed that little piece off. So now I'm going to cut up so that the score line is to the right of where I've cut. So it's in the little bit that we're using as our flap, and then just trim the score line away. So same again. Yes, we have a produce stall at our flower club meetings, and she's made lots of homemade apple pies out of windfall apples, so those will be yummy. One of them may not get to the stall. I may have to buy it before I take it there. So just those tiny little bits to cut away. Then this, you want to use either tear and tape, Seal Plus, or Tombow. I'm going to use Seal Plus. And I like to get it going, and then I can put the piece in that's next to the crease. So down, across, down again. What you need to be slightly careful of is if you do this way first, where the cut edge is, because Seal Plus is so strong, you could end up delaminating your card. So just be a little bit careful. And then just take your cut edge and pop it next to your fold, and just go all the way round, lining those up. And last one. That is our box base. Now just make sure that your adhesive is properly stuck by using your bone folder just to press the two pieces together. That's particularly important with tear and tape and the liquid adhesive, because you want them to actually, you know, properly adhere. And again, this time gently, because we are dealing with paper, not card. Just burnish those crease lines. And then the next layer, and you can see, hopefully if I fold it back that way, you can see that it comes down but not quite all the way. So you'll get a nice neat finish on the inside, but you won't have too much bulk getting interfered with the base here, the score line there. Right, now for this, your cutting is going to be very slightly different. You're still going to cut up the score line, and you're going to cut through both scores, so this one and to this central one, and again trim that away. And then for this one we want to get rid of this piece, so we're going to trim, so we've got a slight wedge going up to where these join, and then a slight wedge up to that same point. So we've got a very, very slight, if I line that up on the grid paper, can you see that that's at a slight angle and that's at a slight angle, and obviously that one is. So I'm going to do exactly the same again. So I'm going to cut up my score line, trim that down so that we get rid of any bulk, trim this, and what I can do is cut it and then trim it, but I'm lazy, so I do it all in one. So I just cut at a very slight angle, knowing that I've got to stop at that point, and then again just wedge very slightly there, and I'm going to wedge at this edge as well while I'm at it. So both these are wedged. And again we're going to cut up over both score lines, stop at the second score line, wedge a small piece out, wedge, wedge, and wedge. Last one, up, wedge, wedge as you cut, and wedge, and then the last piece, assuming I've caught them all, is that one. So just a few little pieces to get rid of. So let's just check. Yes, wedged, 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 wedged. Right. So we're going to do exactly the same. We're going to put adhesive on here. I'm going to use seal this time because it's only paper. Seal is a permanent adhesive, so it's fine to use on paper. Not quite strong enough for card, particularly if you're making a box. You can stick a flat piece of card to a flat piece of card, but when you're making a box you need a little bit more strength. So if you're using card. Now I have just gone over the edge there a little bit, so I will bring in my eraser. Unfortunately we don't sell these anymore, but they are quite useful. You can get them on Amazon, I think. And then just an adhesive eraser, so I'm just lifting that back a bit. And then all I'm going to do is exactly what I did before. I'm going to line the cut edge up against the fold all the way round. And then we need to do a little bit of a fiddle. Now you can put this adhesive on before you put these edges together, but I find it a little tricky to then handle with adhesive here. But what I'm going to do is run adhesive there. You could use tape, tear and tape, but hey, seal is fine. You don't need a huge amount, you just need it to make sure you're actually adhering your flap in place. There's no strength needed on it, it's purely aesthetic. Let's go this way for that piece. Whoops, I am making a meal of this. It is incredibly warm today, I would hasten to add. We don't do air conditioning in the UK if you're joining me from overseas. We just open windows, and it's really quite warm because we've had such a dreadful summer. Why wouldn't it be warm in September? So all I'm going to do is just fold those in. It covers up that flap quite nicely, so it does aesthetic work. It's not structural. It does give a little bit more strength to the lid, but it's basically not structural. And then again, just run round with your bone folder just to make sure that's properly stuck down. And then, the moment of truth, does the base fit the lid? And the answer is, it does perfectly. It's a really nice, snug fit. Now, I'm going to use the gold shimmer ribbon for this one because I think that will look prettier than the cherry cobbler, but I'm still going to do the corner bow. So all you do is you start with it in the corner, you get a reasonable length off, always a plan, bring it up over and round and then cut a length, probably need it about there, and then just tie your bow in place and it will just all hold very nicely. So thumb, well, finger, and just pull that tight so you've got a nice tight bow. Move it in a bit. If it's a bit loose, you can just move everything together a bit and it will all tighten up. And then just, oops, it's not central, but again you can squish that round and then just take your snips and cut your ribbon at an angle and you have a lovely box. That would be even nicer if it was cut straight. There we go. So there's our box. So this was the one I made before, and then we've got our tag which would go nicely with either, plus our card. So I hope you've enjoyed that. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Do remember that if you've got any questions or comments, you can add those below the description bar. If you want to see the close-up photographs, a bit more information about how I made them, then hop over to my website, which is linked below. Follow the link that says associated blog post, and there you'll find the blog roll which will take you around the whole of the blog hop, and you can see what everybody else has been up to, and I know there are going to be some amazing projects, so well worth a visit. Do remember, celebration ends at the end of September, so if you want to join my team, if you're in the UK, France, Germany, Austria or the Netherlands, you can join my team and get that free bundle. So don't hang about. Now is the moment to join. Thank you very much indeed. Have a fantastic day and I will see you again very soon. Bye!